Hi guys, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be doing the full review for this Realme X. And I know I'm a little bit late in this review, and there's a reason for that. And if you guys have watched my unboxing video, again watch the unboxing video because I won't go in every aspect of this device, otherwise this video will become a 20-minute video. And in the unboxing video also I said that the camera performance, I was not that happy in indoor lighting conditions, and I was very surprised regarding the camera performance of this one because I felt even some of the older Realme devices like the Realme 3 and the Realme 3 Pro were actually doing better in indoor lighting in terms of camera. So I asked the Realme team to send me one more unit of the Realme X because I thought that the unit that I got was slightly defective. But again, I got that unit and I did test the camera again, and I also got one update. I updated and then also tested the camera. I'll talk about the camera in the later part of the video. A lot of samples that I'll show you, even slow motion video and regular video, all that. But first, let me talk about the specs, and then we'll divide this review between the pros and cons, what I like about this device and what are the things that I do not like about this device. Again, as you can see, I have made a list between the pros and cons. But first, let's talk about the specs. As you can see, it is having a 6.53-inch AMOLED screen, and it's powered with the Snapdragon 710 SoC. It comes with 128GB of storage, and RAM is 4 or 8GB, and it has a 3765 mAh battery, and other specs are on the screen. And guys, if you look at the box, it says that this is that pop-up generation. Yes, this also has that pop-up front facing camera. I'll talk about that. And this is the device, and I would say before we jump between the pros and cons, this is, I would say, a better version of the Realme 3 Pro. I would say a stylish and a more premium variant. So let's talk between the pros and cons. First, let's talk about the pros. What do I like about this device? And the first thing that I really liked about this device is the build quality and the feel. It feels actually really premium. They have done a great job in terms of build quality. All the buttons do not give the wobble feel. In fact, if you have been following me, you notice that with Asus 6Z and even the Reno 10X Zoom, which are sort of very premium handsets, they have wobble in the buttons. But here, we don't see any wobble or anything. So in terms of build quality, Realme has done a really good job. The back also actually looks like a glass, but it is still a polycarbonate back, I would say. The front glass is a Gorilla Glass 5. And next, we have to talk about the screen. Now, Realme finally went with the AMOLED screen, and it's a good AMOLED screen, guys. It's a 6.53-inch screen, as you can see. And again, because you don't have any notch or anything, again, it's a full view display. Yes, you have slight chin at the bottom, but apart from that, it's good. And I'm happy to say that the quality of the screen that Realme has used is actually good. We don't have a lot of color shift when we tilt the phone. That's the general problem with some of the, AMOLED screens in the budget range. But here, I would say Realme did a good job in terms of the screen that is used. I'm happy with the screen. And also, another small thing is that yes, all these phones do have auto brightness sensor, and this one also has that. But the calibration has been done very well. I didn't have to manually fiddle a lot in terms of brightness. Another small thing is that this also has a hardware DC dimming option inside. That means in night, if you keep it even at very low brightness, the screen does not flicker. Now, if you talk about the speakers, it has a single speaker here at the bottom, but again, the speaker quality is actually really good. It's one of those smartphones that has a single speaker. For example, this reminds me of the older OnePlus devices. They had a single speaker, but it was adequately loud. That's the same case even with this one. It's actually pretty loud, and most of the time I didn't have to keep it at maximum volume. Even at 80% volume, it provided good experience. Now, if we talk about the earpiece, I'm happy to say that the earpiece is also very good on this. The calls that I got were crystal clear. They're very clear. So a good quality earpiece that Realme has put on this. Now, moving to network, I tested this one with Airtel and Jio here in Hyderabad. And again, I have to say that the network reception is above average. For example, on Airtel in my other studio, which is actually soundproof, generally the signal of Airtel is pretty low with almost all phones, and with with many phones, I simply cannot take calls. If I take a call, it gets cut. But with this Realme X, I could take actually some calls in that room. So the network reception is above average on this smartphone. And also I did not have any problem with Jio. In fact, as you can see, currently I'm using it in the dual SIM mode. In fact, I've used it almost in dual SIM mode all the time. And yes, it works fine with Airtel and even Jio. Now moving to another small thing is that this one still has that 3.5mm headphone jack. And I did test it with a couple of headphones and the audio output was good. Now again, this is regarding the speaker. I did also take some calls with the speaker phone, and that was also actually good with this one. Now this one does not have a physical fingerprint scanner, as this is an AMOLED screen. Realme went with this in-display fingerprint scanner, and again, as you can see, it's a fast in-display fingerprint scanner that is there on this one. But again, this does not have always on display or anything, so most of the time it comes, but if it doesn't come, you have to tap it like this and then unlock. There is also that face unlocking, but I would personally not use it because of that pop-up camera. It does take time to come, so it slows down everything. So I was actually using this mostly in this fingerprint scanner. Now moving to the battery, it has a 3765 milliamp hour battery, and I was also very skeptical about the capacity of the battery before I started testing, but I'm pleasantly happy to say that the battery life is actually really good on this device, and it could easily last me for a typical full day. Even with heavy usage, I had about 10 or 15% battery life left. I would say if you're sort of a normal user, not a very heavy user, it will last you for about 1.5 days. And I like the fact that in the box we do get that fast charging via VOOC. So yeah, it has that USB Type-C port, so it charges actually really quickly. So really I'm surprised with the battery life on this. But again, as this is running Color OS, it doesn't give you detailed battery starts. As you can see, it's on 22%. I charged it about 1.5 days ago. And again, it does not give you battery start. So that's the problem with this. But again, in terms of battery life, the battery life has been good on this device. Now moving to gaming, it runs on the Snapdragon 710 SoC. Hence, I tried only one game, guys. I tried PUBG with this one, and it played it without any issues. Yes, after about 15 minutes of playing with PUBG, the back felt slightly warm. But again, that's the same case with almost every phone if you do heavy gaming. It didn't get very hot, but yes, definitely it was slightly hot, warm to touch at the back after about 15 minutes of PUBG, but the PUBG performance was good on this one. And also moving to general performance of this phone, as it's running on the Snapdragon 710 SoC, the general performance was also very good. I did not face any issues of lagginess or anything. It runs on this Color OS 6 with Android Pie out of the box. So in general performance, it is fine. I did not face any issues of lagginess on this device. Now moving to RAM management, guys, this is a review unit as I've told you earlier, and the Realme team sent me the 8GB RAM variant that comes with 128GB of storage. And on this unit, I did not have any issues of RAM management. Apps just load that were in memory without any issues, as you can see. So that was not a problem with this one. But again, the other only option that we have is the 4GB RAM variant. We don't have a 6GB RAM variant. And I was reading some Flipkart comments. This is sold in Flipkart, and most users were sort of happy, but some of them said that in the 4GB RAM variant, it tends to reload some apps. So again, that is something you have to note. And I frankly feel Realme did a blunder by not launching the 6GB RAM variant. Now moving to the cameras on this one, as you can see, we have dual cameras set up on this. The main camera is a 48 megapixel, that's a Sony IMX586, and the second camera is a 5 megapixel for depth. And as you can see from the sample shots, in outdoor situations, the camera performance is actually really good, and in fact the colors actually look a lot punchier thanks to that chroma boost, which tries to boost the colors. And as you can see, in outdoor situations it was good, but when I moved to indoor lighting conditions, as you can see, the camera performance degraded quite a bit, and you'll notice the skin tones, the colors were boosted up too much, and in fact the contrast levels were also not that great. So I feel in indoor lighting conditions, the camera performance is simply not that good. And guys, yes, I even tested with the second unit of the Realme X that was sent, and I had same experience regarding the camera. So in fact, I would say in terms of camera performance in indoor lighting, I would say the camera really struggles compared to even some of the earlier Realme phones that I tested, for example, the Realme 3 and the Realme 3 Pro did much better in indoor lighting compared to this Realme X. Now moving to the front facing camera, it's a 16 megapixel front facing camera, and as you can see, it pops out like this. And as you can see, here are some of the samples taken with this one, and in outdoor conditions, again, as you can see, it is performing very well. We also get that portrait bokeh effect, and it does a very good job in outdoor conditions. But again, when we move to indoor lighting conditions, again, I noticed that it is trying to do this extra contrasty image, and I feel it's actually looking pretty unnatural. So again, in indoor lighting conditions, yes, in terms of sharpness and everything, it's fine, but I felt again in indoor artificial lighting conditions, the front facing camera performance again was not as good as I expected. I hope Realme improves this with an update, but again, as of now, I would say camera is the weakest point of this one. Now moving to video, the good thing is that it also supports slow motion video, and again, as you can see, here are some of the samples taken in the slow motion mode, and they work very well. But again, if you shoot slow motion in indoor lighting, be careful, otherwise you'll get this flicker. And here are some of the samples taken with the rear facing and the front facing camera for video samples. Hi there, this is Ranjit. I'm recording this video with the front facing camera of this Realme X, and I'm recording it at the highest resolution possible, that is 1080p. And the audio is also being recorded via its internal microphone. And as you can see, guys, I'm just walking around, and this should give you an idea how is the video stabilization, exposure. I feel exposure, it's overexposing the background, but anyways, this is a sample video with the front facing camera of the Realme X. Now recording this video with the rear facing camera, and again I'm recording at 1080p. It does not have optical image stabilization, but let's see how the EIS works. I'm just going to walk. As you can see, I'm just walking normally, guys, and looks a lot more stable, unlike the front facing camera. Front facing camera in video, I felt that it was not stabilizing, but looks like it's stabilizing here with the rear facing camera. And again, the audio is also being recorded via its internal microphone. So you guys let me know what do you think about the video with the rear facing camera of this Realme X. So guys, these were the good things about this Realme X. Now let's move to the cons. And again, for the cons, I'll first start with the camera. I do feel that the camera performance, specifically in indoor and artificial lighting, is the weakest on this one. In fact, if we compare it with some of the other devices like the Vivo Z1 Pro, does perform better in indoor lighting condition. Even if we talk about the Redmi Note 7 Pro, which has that 48 megapixel, does perform better than this one. So I feel the camera in indoor lighting conditions is the weakest point about this device. Now, another thing that I do not like with this device is, again, if you notice, we do not have any physical LED notification light on this one. And also, this does not have any always on display option. So for notifications to check, or if you get something, you have to always unlock the phone and look at like this. So that is something, or hit the power button. So that is something that is sorely missing. As this is having an AMOLED screen, they should have given an option of always on display. I hope they enable this option with the OTA update. Also, another thing that I do not like about the camera is that, yes, it has that dual camera setup, but the second camera is just a 5 megapixel depth camera. They should have gone with a wide angle lens instead of that depth camera. That would have made a lot more sense in my frank opinion. And apart from that, again, it's the standard quibbles that I have with Color OS. You don't get that battery stats and some of the other things with Color OS. Realme is rumored to come out with a new OS, but I'm not very sure if that version will be coming to this Realme X. And I also do not like the fact that we have this 4GB RAM variant and directly it jumps to the 8GB RAM variant. They should have given the 6GB RAM variant. That would have been the best option. Again, this is my review of this Realme X. Overall, I would say certainly a very good smartphone, and I was surprised with the battery life, because before starting my test I was skeptical about the battery, but that's not an issue. Overall, it's a very good phone, stylish, feels comfortable in your hand, doesn't feel heavy. But I feel in terms of camera, specifically in indoor and artificial lighting conditions, this one struggles a little bit. Anyways, guys, that was my review of this Realme X. If you guys are still not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, guys.